Hello, everybody. David Shuster here. The state of Hawaii has just found a way to shred Citizens United. That's the Supreme Court ruling from 16 years ago that found corporations have the same speech rights as citizens and can spend money on political campaigns. Ever since that ruling, billionaires, corporations, and their lobbyists have dominated campaign spending and outcomes. But recently, the governor of Hawaii signed a law that bans corporate spending on elections in the state. The measure was introduced by Democrats and some Republicans, including Representative Kanani Souza.
Hawaii is not waiting for permission, not following the lead of others. We are leading. We are making history by restoring a fundamental truth. Power belongs to people, not corporations, especially political power. For too long, we have lived with a legal fiction that a corporation can stand shoulder to shoulder with a human being in the political arena, that it can spend without limit, influence without accountability, and project a voice so powerful that it overwhelms the very people our Constitution was written to protect. But here in Hawaii, we are not bound to accept that outcome as inevitable.
The Hawaiian lawmakers noted that in the United States, corporations are created and given their powers by the charters of individual states. In fact, by definition, everywhere corporations exist, they are a legal creation of the state. The Hawaii measure says that corporations doing business in Hawaii do not have the power to engage in local, state, or federal political campaigns, and that this political power was not enumerated in the state's corporate charter. The measure specifies a range of penalties on corporations that violate the law, including losing the right to conduct any business in Hawaii. The bill cleared the state Senate 29-0 and passed the lower house 41-9. The state's Democratic governor then signed the bill into law. It will take effect in July 2027. Tom Moore is a former chief of staff at the Federal Election Commission who currently serves as a senior fellow at the Center for American Progress.
Every state has the power to do this. And really what we needed to get this rolling is to have a state or two make it the law and get it into court. And I think that's what's going to actually get it rolled out to all the rest of the states when the Supreme Court either decides that they can't stomach the consequences of overturning it, or they just decide that it's correct because it does comport with 200 years of all their jurisprudence.
Even the conservative Supreme Court's recent case law supports states' rights, which is at the heart of Hawaii's new law. For example, a few years ago, conservative Justice Samuel Alito ruled for states' rights in a religious liberties case known as Hobby Lobby. In that ruling, Alito wrote, "The objectives that may properly be pursued by the companies in these cases are governed by the laws of the states in which they were incorporated."
Voters do overwhelmingly support this. There was some national polling done by Issue 1 in October that showed huge majorities across all demographic groups supporting this kind of reform. And it was a couple points higher and on every count in Montana, even as Republican a state it is and so forth. But it appeals to everybody.
Still, because the Hawaii law pits states' rights against political speech rights, the law will be challenged in the courts and almost certainly go before the U.S. Supreme Court. In the meantime, polling shows that 75% of the U.S. voting public supports curtailing Citizens United. And several states are taking action, including Montana, which has a ballot measure to roll back corporate campaign spending.
This is something that has been carefully researched, and it sits on top of 200 years of foundational corporation law. It's just that corporate law folks and election law folks haven't been talking to each other for the last 16 years. But this is a real thing. One of the best things about working on this project for the last 2 years has been bringing it to people and really giving them hope. I mean, there's a sense of agency that's been removed by Citizens United ever since it was decided, and this gives it back.
And back to Hawaii Republican Representative Kanani Souza. She recently told MS Now that she welcomes the court battle over the new Hawaii law. And she added that the fight over corporate campaign spending is long overdue.
We are taking the lead, and that will obviously open up our state to legal challenges, but somebody has to do it. And I think that starting here in Hawaii, it will trickle down to other states, and we will have a national movement at some point. So hopefully we will be able to defend our law in court, and this piece of legislation will hold true, and it will actually take effect, and we will see the decline of dark money in politics.
Indeed, Citizens United stands as one of the most preposterous Supreme Court decisions in American history. The court took a legal fiction that corporations are like people and transformed it into a kind of secular archangel entitled to dump limitless money into elections. The conservative justices might as well have granted voting rights to parking meters and emotional understanding to slot machines. Because of Citizens United, elections over the past 16 years have been dominated by billionaires, industrial syndicates, crypto speculating degenerates, pharmaceutical monopolists, fossil fuel emperors, and assorted corporate swamp creatures. And let's be clear, Citizens United was never about liberty or free speech. It was about power, specifically the power of concentrated wealth to dominate the political machinery and control election outcomes. This domination and control have poisoned every aspect of American public life. Congress behaves not like a legislature, but as a concierge service for donors. Climate policy is drafted under the watchful gaze of oil executives. Drug pricing legislation emerges from negotiations with pharmaceutical barons whose business model depends on charging dying people extravagant sums for crucial medicine. Defense contractors roam through Washington, D.C. and the Pentagon with the logic and stench of slobbering rabid dogs. And yet conservatives are again howling that Citizens United protects the First Amendment. No. The First Amendment was written to protect human liberty and democratic debate, not to guarantee that ExxonMobil, pharmaceutical conglomerates, or hedge funds have the unlimited ability to purchase political outcomes. Corporations are not citizens. They do not vote. They do not serve on juries. They do not die in wars. They do not possess consciences, families, or civic obligations. They are legal instruments designed to conduct commerce. Allowing corporations to dominate elections distorts democracy into something the founders would never recognize. Hawaii's legislature and governor deserve praise, not because their law is politically safe, but because it is politically courageous. Lawmakers in Hawaii recognize that democracy cannot survive indefinitely when money becomes indistinguishable from power. Hawaii's representatives have chosen to confront one of the most corrosive Supreme Court rulings of modern times. Instead of surrendering to it, the rest of America should pay attention. If our democracy is ever going to be reclaimed from corporate domination and dark money manipulation, it will begin with states bold enough to challenge the status quo. Hawaii has struck a blow, not just against Citizens United, but against the entire diseased philosophy that democracy exists to flatter and enrich those already powerful. Other states should join Hawaii's effort. The time has come to reclaim our democracy and remind our nation that government of the people still means something. Did you know that the big wireless carriers like Verizon and AT&T made over $18 billion in profit last year? How? By overcharging you for unlimited data, most of which you probably aren't even using. But what if you could get paid to use your phone less and only pay for the data you do use? Well, with Noble Mobile, you can. For just $50 a month on their No Bull plan, you get unlimited data, and whatever data you don't use, you get cash back right in your pocket. People who switch to Noble can save an average of $500 to $1,000 a year. It's a no-brainer. And by switching to Noble, you're directly supporting TYT and our mission of bringing you honest, independent news. So give Noble a try and make the switch today. Scan the QR code on the screen now or visit go.tyt.com/plan. That's go.tyt.com/plan. By the way, some critics of a proposed AI data center in Utah just ridiculed the billionaire behind it in hilarious fashion.
Elevate Strategies, also a cell operating inside of Utah. Gabby Finlayson. Gabby, what are you doing?
Well, hi, hello, it's me, Gabby Finlayson. What am I doing?
In this video, Gabby and the other Democratic activists in Utah are about to pummel and humiliate billionaire television star Kevin O'Leary. O'Leary has a financial interest in building an AI data center in drought-stricken Utah. The two women are part of Elevate Utah, a group opposed to the data center.
Apparently, we've reached the part of the Stratos data center journey where Kevin O'Leary goes on national Fox News to accuse us of being cells for the Chinese Communist Party.
Check out that video at the link below. I'm David Shuster. Thanks for joining us.